Good day, everyone. I am lovely Jane Echinumbaga from Group 1 member. Today, I will be discussing a very important topic in research and information gathering, the distinction between primary and secondary sources. So, what is primary sources? Primary sources are original, first-hand accounts or evidence about the event, object, person, or work of art. These sources are witnesses or first recorders of this event at the time they occurred. Example of primary sources include diaries, letters, interviews, photographs, official documents, research reports, work of art, or literature. So, primary sources are valuable because they offer direct, unfiltered access to the subject we are studying. So, next slide is primary sources. So, image is all about interview with an elder. So, primary sources are original materials from the time under study. So this can be interviews, letters, photographs, or artifacts as shown in the image, the boy conducting an interview with a senior citizen, collecting first-hand information about their experiences. This interview is a primary source because it comes directly from someone who experienced the events. So the next slide is written sources. So images shows libraries, documents, archives. So we have written sources. So written sources are materials recorded in text form, like books, newspapers, diaries, and official documents. So the picture shown the boy visiting libraries and archives where various historical documents are stored. So these written records helps historians understand events by providing detailed accounts and evidence of the past. Next is unwritten sources. So, image is museum artifacts or exhibitions. So, we have unwritten sources. So, these include artifacts, artworks, monuments, clothing, and other materials remains in the image. So, the historian exploring museum exhibits containing historical artifacts. Unwritten sources are important because they give us visual and physical evidence of how people, culture, and traditions. Next is historians and researchers study primary sources. It is important to assess them carefully to ensure their authenticity and reliability. Graham outlined 6 key questions that guide this evaluation process. So first is date. When was it produced? So the first point asks about the time the sources was created. Knowing the date helps us understand if the document fits within the historical events it describes. The closer the creation date to the event itself, the more reliable it might be. Next is localization. So where did it originate? The second point concerned the location. We must determine where the source was made or found. So localization helps verify if the source is gorge physically connected to the events or subject it discusses. So third is authorship. who wrote it. So the third point is about the author. We ask who created the document. Knowing the author's background, position, and possible biases is essential to understanding the perspective and purpose behind the source. So the fourth one is analysis. So what pre-existing materials serve as the basis for its production. So the fourth point encourages us to check if the document was based on earlier sources. So if it is relied heavily on other materials, it might be a secondary account rather than the first-hand experience. So the fifth one is integrity. So what was its original form? So the fifth point focuses on the original condition of the source. So has it been altered, edited, or damaged over time? So a source that has maintained its integrity is more trustworthy compared to one that has been tempered with tempered with. So lastly is credibility. So what is the evidential value of its content? So finally, the sixth point questions the credibility of the source. Is the information provided accurate, truthful, and reliable? So how will does it match with other evidence from the period? So um, conclusion of in conclusion, understanding the distinction between primary and secondary sources is essential for anyone involved in research or historical studies. Primary sources, whether written or unwritten, give us direct access to the experiences, events, and cultures of the past. So they allow us to study history through the eyes of those who lived it. So whether we gather information through interviews, explore written documents, or examine artifacts, museums, we are connecting with the authentic pieces of history. So by learning how to identify and use primary sources properly, we become better researchers and critical thinkers. Um, Thank you for listening, and I hope you now have a deeper appreciation for the role of primary sources in discovering the truth about the past. Goodbye and God bless.